Hey guys, my name is Devin. I'm the front desk attendant and personal trainer here at Core Essentials, and today I want to talk with you about the YMCA Bench Press test. Now this test is a measure of upper body muscular endurance, and it's a pretty commonly used test to assess this trait, and first time I learned about it was in school, and it's one of my favorite tests to do. Now the YMCA Bench Press test was created in a study that was funded by the YMCA to get a good baseline of what is average, what is below average, what is above average for upper body muscular endurance using this exact same protocol. So they just ran a study where they had a huge sample size of people, men and women in different age ranges, and had them do this, and from their performance in that, they got a really good gauge of what the average person is capable of doing on this, what the above average, below average, and so on. So before we get into the test itself, there's a few considerations I want to go over first. So the first is just bench press form. So what you want to consider with the bench press is your hands. They should be just outside of your shoulders, and when you're coming down on the bar, you want it to come over just the center of your breast line like this. Notice my elbows too. They are slightly down. They're not all the way out like this. If you do that, you're going to hurt your shoulders doing this. So what it looks like, I'll show you on this bar, is it should be about like this. This is what it should look like from if you were looking at this from above. Right? Another consideration to take into mind are modifications for this, because I understand that not everybody has one of these set up. So if you wanted to do this, it might be, you might only have dumbbells to do it, right? So let me show you what that looks like with dumbbells real quick. All right, so I've got my dumbbells here. What you would have to do is whatever weight you're using for this test, you would obviously just divide it by 2 and use those appropriately weighted dumbbells for this test instead of a barbell. The way to get dumbbells up into a bench press position safely is to start by sitting them on the tops of your knees like this, and then what you do one at a time is you hike them up with your legs like that, and then you gently lower yourself down into position, and then you are ready to go. It's worth noting that the dumbbells are a little more difficult to do bench press with typically because they require a lot more stabilization in the forearm. So while it is similar to this test, enough so that you would get a good idea of it, if you don't have the exact number of weight that you need for the test, and you can only go lower or higher than the number that you would need, I would recommend going a little bit lower. Another way that you can do something that would be similar to this test and yield you a good enough idea of where you stand with your muscular endurance of your upper body is just using one of the cable-operated chest press machines that you would see in most commercial gyms. Those things are a little finicky in terms of getting the correct setting so that it feels natural and you can get this sort of position going on, but it would yield a very similar result if you wanted to do it that way. So another thing you want to consider that is specific to this test that you might be accustomed to doing differently if you've bench pressed before is keeping your back flat. The test was designed to be a flat back bench press. You'll see a lot of times people, especially in powerlifting, it's very extreme, will arch their back when they come down on the bench, and that helps reduce the range of motion, makes it a little easier to bench press. For this one, there's no arch in the back, no pinning of the shoulder blade, none of that, you just go straight back. And another thing that's really important is to remember to breathe. Now you're going to have to count several times, make many counts with this, and it can be kind of hard to keep track of your breathing and a number that's currently increasing while you're doing something physically exhausting. So I like to just count the breaths and not the reps. So what you'll do as far as breathing on this test is you'll start up here. When you unrack it, you'll breathe in, coming down, and you're going to bring it all the way down as far as you can, touching your chest if possible, and then out as you come up. It is also highly recommended that you do this with a spotter if you have a spotter available. And if you don't have a spotter available and you don't feel comfortable doing this, this isn't the only way that you can measure your muscular endurance of your upper body. There are tons of other tests you can do, push-up tests and that sort of thing, variations that are a little more accessible than this and don't require a spotter. Okay, so now that we've gone over all the considerations, we are pretty much ready to go on this. So the general rules of the test are, for men, they will be lifting 80 pounds on the bench press. Women will be lifting 35 pounds on the bench press. I've got mine all loaded up here for 80 pounds. I'm ready to go. The next thing is you need a metronome. There's plenty of phone apps that you can get a metronome on pretty easily. The cadence will be 60 beats per minute. So that means that it's going to go down, up, about that fast each beat of the metronome. All right, and with all that said, I'm about ready to start demonstrating this for you. Another review of the form is you're going to have your hips and back flat on the bench. Your feet should be squarely on the ground or on another raised surface. If your legs aren't quite long enough to reach the ground from wherever you're positioned, head needs to maintain itself on the bench at all times. Just whole part of your torso and hips flat across the bench, making sure that you're breathing and coming all the way down and going all the way up each time in cadence. The test ends when you fail to do any of these things. If your head comes up, if your butt comes up off the bench, if you lose cadence, the test is terminated. Or the test is just terminated when you don't think you can do another one. So now, all I have left to do is start my metronome here on my phone at 60 beats per minute. Pretty slow cadence. And we're going to see how much I can do. Okay. So I managed to complete 29 reps before my muscles were getting so tired that I couldn't keep up with the metronome. And I really wanted to make that 30th rep with a nice clean number, but I got too tired. So now that you've completed the test, the next thing to do is to take your value, your number of reps that you scored on this test, and compare it against the normative data that researchers collected in this study. So I will put this table up on the screen now, and I will also leave a link to it in the description. And you can match your gender and age group, the table, see what rep range you got, and that will tell you how you fall in line with the general population. So for example, for me, I just got 29 before I failed, and as a 26-year-old male, that would put me in the above average range, but I was right. 30 would have been the good range, which is right above. So I'll have to work on that for next time, see if I can do a little better. All right, that's about it for the YMCA bench press test. So go ahead and try it yourself. See what your results are and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you did. You can also All right, and that's about all for the YMCA bench press test. So go ahead and try it yourself. Leave a comment below and let me know how you did. If there's any other content you want to see on this channel specifically, go ahead and leave that in the comments too. We'd love to hear your feedback. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check us out on Facebook, and if you want to, come into the clinic. We offer lymphedema treatment, physical therapy, personal training, gym memberships, whatever you want, fitness, health, wellness wise, we got it for you. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.